Hey, night listener. Tonight we enter the shadows, those places the daylight never touches, the alleys where whispers linger and secrets fester. Rain taps a ghostly rhythm against darkened windows. Dim streetlights flicker, casting uncertain halos over empty sidewalks. Somewhere, footsteps echo softly, retreating just beyond sight, fading into a silence heavy with hidden intentions. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. And down below, comment your location. Are you listening from the safety of home or somewhere more unsettling? Tell me whether it's the truth, the thrill, or the justice that draws you deeper. Now, lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. You're standing in front of the crime scene tape again. It dances in the breeze, fluttering like a yellow serpent. You've seen enough crime scenes to know how to look away, how to blend into the background. But tonight, it's impossible. The woman's eyes won't let you. She's standing by the door, arms crossed, expression carved from ice, her lips pressed tight, her silence palpable. Each minute passing without her voice feels louder than a scream. Those eyes, you wish she'd look away, but she doesn't. Her gaze penetrates your carefully maintained calm, dissecting layers of lies you've constructed around yourself. You feel exposed, raw, as though her silence could shatter your defenses completely. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. The detective approaches her, asking another question. She shakes her head slowly, eyes never leaving yours. He scribbles something down, frustration mounting, turning his attention to others. But she stays fixed, unmoving, relentless. It's as if she's already whispered everything to him in a language only he can't decipher. But you can. You know exactly what her silence means. It's the silence of someone who holds a truth so heavy it might crush her if spoken aloud. It's a truth that could bury you. Rain slicks your coat as you step backward, retreating into the crowd, hoping distance can break her accusatory stare. But she tracks your movements, unwavering. Each raindrop hitting your skin feels like a tiny judgment. She knows something. Something about you. Something damning. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Your heart races as you turn and hurry down the alleyway, shadows swallowing you gratefully. But even there, her silence echoes. Why didn't she speak? Why didn't she point at you and scream your name to the authorities? Isn't that what innocence would demand? You pause beneath a street lamp, its pale glow turning the pavement a sickly gray. In the distance, sirens wail softly, a mournful sound mingling with the rhythmic patter of rain. Pulling your collar tighter, you wonder how long her silence will last. Hours, days, or is it permanent? It was never about the truth, it was about control. Your hand brushes your pocket, where you've hidden something. A small token of a crime best forgotten, a key, tiny and cold. You clutch it tighter, feeling its teeth bite softly into your palm. It's proof, evidence, a clue. But whose story does it unlock? Yours, hers, or someone else's entirely? Turning toward home, you feel the weight of her gaze follow you, invisible now, but no less potent. You're walking a path paved with secrets, each step heavier than the last. The street stretches ahead, dark and endless. Somewhere behind you, she's silent still, watching. Tomorrow, you'll need answers. You'll have to face her again, perhaps even break her silence. But tonight, all you have is uncertainty. Her silent accusation pulsing louder in your mind with each heartbeat, until your nerves threaten to fracture. What if you've been the suspect all along? You glance behind you again, half expecting her to materialize from the shadows, eyes accusing, mouth forever silent. But you're alone, completely alone, except for the secret you carry and the echoes of her silence. Tonight, you lie awake, haunted by the question that her wordless stare posed so clearly. How long can guilt remain hidden before silence screams the truth? The photograph arrives quietly, slipped beneath your apartment door. Sometime after midnight, you find it there in the morning, lying face down on the worn hardwood floor, waiting patiently, instinctively. You pause before reaching for it, your heartbeat uneven, your fingers hesitating, just inches above the glossy paper. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Finally, you lift it, turning it slowly. The glossy surface catches the pale dawn light, reflecting briefly like a hidden blade. It's a snapshot taken from somewhere distant, blurry around the edges, grainy with distortion. Yet, the image is clear enough to chill your blood. You see yourself, unmistakably, standing beneath a street lamp, just as you did last night, captured at precisely the moment your hand slipped into your pocket to touch the cold reassurance of the key. But there's something else. Just beyond the ring of street lamp light, half hidden in shadow, is another figure watching you, silent, obscured. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Your breath catches. Could it be her? The silent woman whose eyes accused you, who seemed to know every hidden truth your tongue refused to speak. You strain your eyes, desperate for clarity, but the figure remains maddeningly vague, as though intentionally obscured by the photographer's careful angle. Yet somehow, the stance, the subtle posture, unmistakably feminine, echoes familiarity. It feels like her, even without certainty. Her presence here is like a whisper screaming your guilt. You turn the photograph over, expecting a note, a threat, something concrete, but the back is blank, empty as silence itself. The absence of words feels intentional, mocking your need for clarity. Your fingers tremble slightly as you tuck the photograph away in a drawer, burying it beneath random receipts and clutter, as though hiding it could erase its implications. But even as you close the drawer, you know it's pointless. The photograph has already seeped beneath your skin, its silent message now etched into your mind. It was never about the truth, it was about control. The rest of your morning passes in a distracted blur. Routine offers no comfort. You feel eyes on your back as you sip coffee, glance over your shoulder too frequently, unable to shake the paranoia that someone is just beyond your line of sight. You wonder briefly if you've always been this nervous, this suspicious, or if this is a new brand of unease birthed by last night's silent accusation. Stepping onto the street, you keep your head down, trying to melt into the anonymous crowd. But each stranger's glance feels knowing. Each whispered conversation seems laden with secret accusations. You're imagining things, at least. That's what you tell yourself. But imagination has always been a liar's accomplice. By midday, your paranoia pushes you into action. You find yourself standing once again in front of her apartment, the place where it all began, the silent woman's door, the threshold you crossed briefly last night, hoping to erase any suspicion linking back to you. But that was before her gaze pierced your facade. You knock softly, the sound muffled by nerves. No answer comes. You knock again, louder, insistent. Still nothing. Glancing down, you notice faint scrape marks at the lock signs someone else was here before you. perhaps forcing entry, or perhaps it was always like this, unnoticed in your earlier panic. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The hallway is empty, no neighbors watching. Taking a deep breath, you twist the knob gently. The door yields unexpectedly, swinging open to reveal her apartment in eerie stillness. An atmosphere suspended mid-breath. Inside, silence reigns supreme, heavy and tangible. Stepping across the threshold, you notice the room appears untouched since the police left. Photographs on the walls stare back blankly, faces of strangers offering no guidance. But one image, placed oddly on a small table, draws your attention. A group shot, friends laughing, casual, but someone is missing. There's a torn corner, a careful removal of someone's presence, a deliberate erasure. Your heartbeat quickens, leaning in. You see a tiny edge of handwriting on the back, exposed by the tear. You flip it quickly, revealing part of a single word: truth. Your pulse accelerates. The torn photo mirrors the fragmented snapshot left at your apartment pieces, deliberately removed or obscured. Clues half buried, truths kept just beyond reach. Each clue feels intentional, placed by someone adept at psychological games. You glance toward her bedroom, door slightly ajar, inviting yet foreboding. Without thinking, you move silently toward the bedroom, drawn by instinct more powerful than caution. Inside, the scent of her perfume still lingers faintly, ghostly yet present. Your gaze falls immediately to the nightstand, its single drawer slightly ajar, deliberately inviting. You reach for it, your fingertips touching cold metal. Inside lies another key, old, ornate, its rusted teeth promising secrets and lies long locked away. As you lift it, your stomach knots tightly, realization striking coldly. This key, an exact match to the one burning silently in your pocket, whispers a terrifying possibility. Someone knows everything you've hidden. What if you've been the suspect all along? The apartment door suddenly creaks softly, startling your breath short. Someone else is here. Panic rising. You slip the key hastily into your pocket and retreat deeper into shadow. Your pulse hammering. Footsteps echo softly. Deliberate. Entering the living room. Holding your breath, you listen intently. Nerves frayed. Heart racing. Whoever you are. A familiar voice calls softly from the entryway. Calm. Controlled. Dripping menace beneath the surface. You should know silence won't save you. You shiver violently, recognizing the voice instantly, the voice you thought would forever remain silent. You press yourself tighter against the bedroom wall, your breath shallow and carefully controlled. Every muscle freezes, trapped between dread and disbelief. The silence that stretches from the other room now pulses with intention. Her voice, it shouldn't exist here, not after everything you witnessed. Yet, the impossible is happening. Footsteps pace the living room slowly, methodically. She moves as if savoring each hesitant step you might make. You know this tactic well, drawing out tension, heightening the dread, amplifying every silent heartbeat until it screams surrender. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You strain to catch the faintest clue, any sound or movement that might betray her intentions. Instead, she speaks again, softly, dangerously, her voice drifting like smoke beneath the closed bedroom door. I knew you'd come back, she says. Her voice is smooth, unnerving in its calm certainty. It's in your nature, like moths to a flame, always drawn back to the place of their sins. You close your eyes tightly, fighting the instinct to respond, to justify, to deny. Any word now would shatter the fragile anonymity that protects you. She waits patiently, as though confident you'll break the silence first. Her presence feels like an interrogation without questions your silence, her accusation, and the oppressive truth suspended dangerously between you. Then, abruptly, she moves again, footsteps, light and steady, nearing the bedroom. The door creaks slowly open, revealing only the faint outline of her silhouette. The dim light frames her softly, hiding her face, yet amplifying her menacing quiet. She pauses on the threshold, hesitating deliberately, prolonging your agony. Did you find what you were looking for? She finally whispers, her tone dripping subtle accusation. The truth, or just more questions you're too afraid to ask. Your heart pounds violently. Does she see you? Or is this a cruel bluff? The risk of exposure pushes adrenaline through your veins. Your fingers curl involuntarily around the key concealed in your pocket, a silent witness that could condemn or redeem you if only you knew what it unlocked. She steps forward again, now fully inside the room, mere feet from where you hide in shadow. Her hand moves along the dresser, lightly trailing fingertips across scattered belongings as if touching memories. Your pulse accelerates with every moment she nears your hidden position. You brace yourself, ready for the confrontation, ready to be caught. But just as your nerves stretch thin enough to snap, she pauses. Her voice comes again, soft yet chillingly precise. You think silence hides your secrets, but silence only makes them louder. It was never about the truth. It was about control. She turns suddenly, moving away, retreating back toward the living room. You exhale silently, tension slowly bleeding from your limbs. You hear her pick something up, paper rustling softly, then footsteps receding toward the front door. You hear the latch click open, her voice murmuring gently, almost to herself. This isn't over. It won't be until you speak. The door shuts quietly, and silence floods back in, oppressive, dense, nearly suffocating. You wait several minutes longer, ensuring she truly left. Only then do you emerge cautiously from your hiding place, legs weak with lingering fear, your thoughts a frantic swirl of confusion. You knew, but pretended you didn't. In the empty room, you notice something she left behind, a small scrap of paper, deliberately placed atop the coffee table, illuminated by the faint light from the window. You approach carefully, hesitating slightly before picking it up. It's torn from another photograph, edges jagged, an image fragment, incomplete. Your own face stares back at you, cropped roughly at the edges. A word scrawled on the back in familiar handwriting sends chills racing through your bones. Guilty. Your breath catches sharply. Her silent accusation now has a voice, a single damning word that resonates louder than screams. What if you've been the suspect all along? You stumble backward, mind racing desperately to piece together the scattered fragments, the key, the photographs, her impossible reappearance. Each clue feels deliberately orchestrated to trap you within a maze of suspicion and paranoia. The apartment feels suddenly claustrophobic, the walls pressing inward as though tightening their hold. You need air. Quickly, you slip the torn photo into your pocket alongside the two keys, silent companions in this tangled nightmare, and rush toward the door. Outside, daylight does nothing to ease your fear. Streets bustle with ordinary people living ordinary lives, oblivious to your private horror. But even here, surrounded by noise and movement, her words echo relentlessly. You move swiftly down familiar streets, avoiding eye contact, wondering who else might secretly know your guilt. Her quiet words haunt your every step, shaping paranoia into reality. Every stranger who glances your way seems accusatory. Every whispered conversation a potential indictment. Your phone vibrates suddenly in your pocket. You pull it out quickly, apprehension tightening your chest as you see a message waiting, anonymous and brief. You can't hide forever. You stop cold in the middle of the sidewalk, the world tilting dangerously beneath your feet. Her words, the photograph, the message, all threads weaving into a suffocating web. Someone is watching. Someone knows. Someone is playing a twisted game designed to break you. But who you glance around frantically, searching faces, shadows, reflections seeking the invisible eyes you feel boring into you from every angle. But there's nothing unusual, nothing overt, just endless ordinary anonymity disguising threats unseen. You've underestimated how powerful silence can be, how easily unspoken truths become lethal weapons, sharper than blades and louder than screams. Your hand tightens around the keys and the torn photograph, the proof, the accusation, and the mystery tangled together. You have only one choice left: confront the past you buried, or allow the silence to consume you completely. How much longer can you hold your secrets before silence betrays everything? Nightfall comes quickly, cloaking the city in shadows that now feel less protective, more threatening. Returning to your apartment, you lock every door, secure every window. The quiet of your home is no longer a refuge. It feels hostile, tainted by paranoia and suspicion. You pace restlessly, thoughts trapped in endless loops, replaying her impossible voice, the chilling photograph, and that single accusatory word, guilty. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Unable to settle your racing mind, you find yourself drawn again to the drawer where you first hid the photograph. You pull it open, hesitating only a moment before retrieving the blurred image once more. Under the stark overhead light, the grainy details sharpen slightly. You squint harder, your gaze lingering on the shadowy figure behind you, still blurred, still uncertain, but somehow more familiar now. Your heart skips uneasily. Could it truly be her? Could she have orchestrated everything from the beginning? You glance around, instinctively aware that your apartment might hold more secrets than safety. Your eyes land on your small desk, a wooden antique piece with one narrow drawer, perpetually locked, a space you've purposefully ignored for years. The drawer represents things buried deep: mistakes, regrets, truths you never intended to revisit. Yet tonight, that forgotten drawer demands your attention. Slowly, you approach the desk, the old wood creaking softly beneath your touch. You kneel, feeling beneath the edge where a spare key once rested, hidden long ago for a day you hoped would never come. You find it exactly where you left it, a small metal shape, cold and accusing. Your fingers tremble as you slip it into the lock, feeling each subtle click resonate like judgment. With a deep breath, you pull open the drawer. Inside, chaos greets you: papers, trinkets, memories tangled carelessly. You dig through them urgently, your pulse quickening. Finally, your fingers brush something unexpected: a single leather glove, delicate yet worn, familiar yet forgotten. As you lift it gently, memories flash rapidly through your mind: a dark street, headlights slicing rain, your own panicked breath as you fled a place you swore never to remember again. The glove belonged to her. You realize instantly, the silent woman whose gaze pierced your innocence like a needle through fabric. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Holding it now, the glove feels heavier than mere fabric and leather. It carries accusation, regret, and guilt, woven together tightly. Your mind struggles to piece together how it arrived in your locked drawer, a drawer whose existence only you knew. A cold shiver traces down your spine. Someone else has been here, invading your sanctuary, rearranging your past to torment your present. The walls of your home suddenly seem thinner, vulnerable, transparent. Are you truly alone? It was never about the truth, it was about control. You collapse heavily into the chair, still gripping the glove tightly. Your breath quickens, anxiety constricting your lungs. How many more hidden secrets wait to surface? How many lies must unravel before silence swallows you whole? On impulse, you slip the glove onto your own hand. It fits perfectly, a damning coincidence that tightens around your heart. Could you have forgotten more than you remembered? Could you be guilty in ways you've denied, buried beneath self-deception? Your reflection stares back from a darkened window pane, distorted and accusing. You stand slowly, approaching your reflection. In your eyes, you see desperation mingled with dread. Could you have done something unforgivable and erased it from memory, reshaped your own reality to live with the guilt? What if you've been the suspect all along? Suddenly, headlights from the street below sweep through the window, illuminating your apartment briefly. In the momentary brightness, something else catches your attention. A second photograph, partially obscured beneath scattered papers in the drawer. You hurry back, pulling it free. Unlike the first, this image is clear and undeniable. It shows her face, solemn and silent, staring directly into the camera, eyes filled with unmistakable accusation. Behind her stands another figure, blurred slightly, but recognizable you. Your stomach knots violently. Your presence in this photograph shatters every illusion of innocence you've clung to. How did this happen? How much have you truly forgotten or deliberately erased? You flip the photograph over, revealing words hastily scrawled in faded ink. Silence protects no one. Your breath catches painfully. Every revelation tightens the trap, and each new clue draws you deeper into a maze built from your own past missteps. Someone is forcing you to confront truths you can no longer deny, truths hidden behind walls of silence you've carefully constructed. A sharp knock at your apartment door jolts you from spiraling thoughts. Your heart leaps frantically as adrenaline floods your veins. You quickly hide the photographs and glove back into the drawer, slamming it shut just as another knock, louder and more insistent, echoes through the apartment. You move cautiously to the door, listening intently. A voice you don't immediately recognize calls out softly but firmly. I know you're home. We need to talk. Fear tightens your throat. Opening the door feels like opening the gates of confession, exposing every secret to judgment. But running, hiding, that's no longer an option. Slowly, deliberately, you undo the locks, each click louder and more damning than the last. Taking a deep breath, you swing the door open. Standing in the hallway is someone unexpected, someone you trusted completely until this moment, your closest friend, whose face now bears an expression you've never seen before, doubt. They hold up a familiar torn photograph, the other half of the one you discovered. Their voice is calm but edged with quiet suspicion. You have something to explain, don't you? Your silence answers louder than any words ever could. You stand frozen, your friend's eyes searching yours with a quiet intensity you've never faced before. Behind their calm expression lies an unspoken judgment. a suspicion poised like a blade, ready to pierce the fragile membrane of trust between you. Invite me in, they say quietly, carefully controlling their voice. It's not quite an order, yet you feel powerless to refuse. You step aside silently, allowing them entry. Each step they take across your threshold feels like an invasion, a silent accusation dripping with each movement. You shut the door slowly, painfully aware you're trapping yourself inside your own apartment, your sanctuary turned interrogation chamber. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Your friend moves deliberately through your living room, studying your belongings, lingering near the desk where your secrets now lie barely hidden. Your pulse quickens as their fingertips trail lightly across the closed drawer, almost as if sensing its hidden burden. Finally, they turn, their eyes locking onto yours, steady and unforgiving. They hold up the photograph again, the torn fragment that fits perfectly with the piece in your possession. The damning puzzle now complete. You're in this photo. They begin slowly, voice even, measured. With her, the night everything went wrong, but you said you never met her. So why are you here standing behind her in this picture? Your throat tightens, choking off words that might condemn or redeem you. You stare at the torn image, memories flickering like ghostly lanterns in your mind, elusive and unreliable. I, I don't remember. You stammer softly, hating the vulnerability in your voice. They shake their head gently, disappointment mixing with disbelief. You knew, but pretended you didn't. They whisper back. Their accusation stings more deeply because it mirrors your own internal voice, the relentless whisper of guilt that never truly silenced. Slowly, your friend places the photograph on the coffee table, turning away momentarily, pacing to the window and staring out into the darkening street below. Silence floods the room again, suffocating, oppressive. I want to believe you, they finally say softly, but silence won't help you anymore. It's burying you deeper. You watch them carefully, weighing trust against survival. Your friendship hangs by a fragile thread, stretched taut by the truth lying hidden between you. I swear, you begin quietly, words tentative, trembling. I don't remember her clearly, just fragments, like dreams. Your friend turns sharply, eyes narrowing thoughtfully, searching your expression. Dreams, they echo softly, almost bitterly, or memories you refuse to face. Your heart pounds violently as you consider their words. Could denial have become your refuge? Your silence a desperate act of self-preservation? How much have you truly erased, buried beneath layers of guilt and fear? Maybe I've forgotten more than I want to admit. You concede finally, voice barely audible, shame and relief intertwining. They nod slowly, acknowledging your admission, but suspicion still clings to their stance, heavy and immovable. You're holding something back, they whisper knowingly, glancing toward the desk drawer. Secrets don't disappear, they fester. Silence only feeds them. You move instinctively, defensively, toward the desk, stepping protectively in front of the drawer. Your pulse quickens as you feel the weight of the hidden glove, photographs, and keys, each symbol an anchor dragging you deeper beneath the surface of lies. What's inside your friend presses gently, voice soft yet penetrating. You can trust me, but can you? Betrayal feels closer than truth now, and trust seems as fragile as spun glass. Your hesitation is all they need to confirm their suspicion. It was never about the truth, it was about control, they say quietly, echoing your own haunted thoughts aloud. Your silence stretches painfully. You know your friend is right. Your secrets control you now, dictating every move, twisting every interaction into suspicion. You step aside wordlessly, allowing them access, your gaze dropping to the floor in quiet surrender. They approach the desk cautiously, opening the drawers slowly, revealing the tangled chaos of evidence. The glove, the photographs, the kawais all sit exposed, accusations waiting to speak. Your friend lifts the glove gently, recognition sparking briefly in their eyes. Her glove, they murmur softly, voice barely audible. She was wearing it that night. It vanished after. They trail off, unwilling to finish the sentence aloud. Yet, the implication lingers dangerously between you both. Your stomach twists violently with dread. Your voice comes out strained, hoarse with fear. You saw her that night. You knew her. They glance sharply upward, realization flickering between you two sets of truths, colliding violently. We all knew her. Your friend replies softly, pain evident beneath their calm exterior. Some of us better than others. Their admission shocks you. The revelation unsettling foundations you believed solid. Your friend's presence in this unfolding nightmare shifts the balance, forcing you to reconsider every interaction, every seemingly casual moment you shared. Suddenly, your phone vibrates urgently, cutting through the charged silence. You pull it quickly from your pocket, the screen illuminated by another anonymous message, brief and chilling. They're not your friend. Trust no one. Your breath catches painfully, pulse hammering wildly. You glance upward, suddenly wary, panic reasserting itself violently. Could your friend's arrival have been planned another manipulation? Another step in this twisted game of silence and accusation? They watch you closely, sensing the shift in your mood, suspicion reflected in their expression. What is it? They ask quietly, stepping closer, attempting to read the message you clutch protectively. Nothing, you whisper, slipping the phone away hastily. Their eyes narrow again, mistrust clouding their features once more. The fragile truce shatters instantly, replaced by silent suspicion, mutual accusation hanging heavy in the air between you. You don't trust me, they observe softly, hurt now mixing dangerously with suspicion. Maybe you shouldn't, but ask yourself, who else has access to your secrets? Your gaze locks with theirs, fear crystallizing sharply in your chest. What if you've been the suspect all along? They step back slowly, turning toward the door. At the threshold, they pause, voice soft, heavy with a threat hidden beneath kindness. Be careful who you trust. Silence might seem safe, but it will betray you in the end. Then they're gone, leaving you alone, once again, trapped between silence and confession, betrayal and trust, every path now fraught with peril. And suddenly, you realize silence is no longer protection. It's become your greatest danger. Night deepens around you, swallowing your apartment in a murky silence that feels more suffocating than ever. You pace restlessly, replaying the scene with your friend, their words ringing sharply in your ears. Who else has access to your secrets? It's a question with no easy answer, especially now that paranoia has seeped into every shadow, every passing glance from strangers, friends, even yourself. You wonder briefly if trust has always been an illusion, or if tonight was simply the night that illusion shattered completely. Your thoughts circle back relentlessly to the glove, the photographs, the keys, all evidence you can no longer deny. The silent woman, whose stare accused you from the start, is now joined by your closest friend, another face framed by suspicion. Could everyone you trusted be manipulating your silence to conceal their own guilt? You knew, but pretended you didn't. Exhausted by uncertainty, you slump onto the couch, burying your face in your hands. But the stillness offers no comfort. Instead, it whispers reminders of every unanswered question, every accusation lurking beneath your skin. You rise abruptly, driven by a frantic impulse, desperate to break free from this cycle of silence and suspicion. You find yourself pulling on your coat, slipping the keys the mysterious pair into your pocket, along with the torn photograph fragment. Whatever secrets they unlock, it's time to confront them directly. You hurry out into the night, feeling the city close around you like a cold fist. The streets seem abandoned, filled only with echoes of your footsteps and your anxious breathing. Each shadow you pass feels sentient, eyes hidden in darkness, silently watching, judging your every step. Your destination is uncertain, guided only by instinct and desperation. Eventually, you find yourself standing outside the old hotel at the edge of town, its once grand facade now peeling and shadowy beneath the flickering street lamp. You stare upward, recognizing the faded numbers on the second floor window 213. It matches the key you carry, heavy, rusted, and pulsing with menace. Room 213, a place she noted in her calendar, a detail that haunted you since the beginning, a fragment of mystery you can no longer ignore. You step inside the lobby, greeted only by emptiness and the faint hum of fluorescent lighting. The receptionist's desk sits vacant, abandoned. Every footstep echoes painfully on the linoleum, amplifying your intrusion. Climbing the stairs, you pause outside the door to room 213, heart racing, fingers trembling. The key slides smoothly into the lock, turning with a satisfying yet chilling click. The door swings inward to darkness. You hesitate only briefly, then step inside, feeling along the wall until you find the light switch. The overhead bulb flickers weakly, illuminating the room's grim interior. Faded wallpaper, sagging mattress, cracked mirrors reflecting fractured versions of you. Yet something draws your gaze immediately. A table in the corner, bearing another photograph, carefully placed upright, waiting explicitly for you. You approach cautiously, heart hammering against your ribcage. Lifting it carefully, you see another captured moment, a dimly lit alleyway, rain-slicked pavement reflecting distorted neon signs. And there in the corner, a figure hunched beneath a shadow. Your breath catches sharply, recognizing yourself immediately. But behind you, again blurred yet clearer now, stands another figure, unmistakably familiar. Your closest friend. Your pulse spikes wildly. Every assumption about trust, loyalty, and betrayal fractures instantly. You flip the photograph hastily, discovering words scrawled neatly, purposefully. You're not the only one hiding something. Your blood chills. Could your friend who moments ago warned you against trusting silence be hiding a truth as dangerous as your own? Who placed this photograph here, guiding you deeper into this labyrinth of deception? Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Suddenly, the door creaks softly behind you. You whirl around, your heart leaping into your throat. Standing at the threshold, silhouetted by hallway lights, is a figure wrapped in shadow. Your friend steps into the room, eyes calm, expression unreadable. "I wondered when you'd find this place," they say softly, glancing toward the photograph in your shaking hands. "I hoped you'd be brave enough to confront your silence." Anger and fear twist sharply inside you, mingling into suspicion. You knew about this room, about everything. Their eyes flicker briefly with uncertainty, but quickly steady, resolute. I knew enough. She confided things to me, secrets she couldn't trust anyone else with, especially you. Why you demand, voice trembling with frustration. Why couldn't she trust me? Your friend's gaze darkens with something akin to pity. Because you're good at silence, too good. Silence makes you dangerous. It was never about the truth, it was about control. Your anger surges, words stumbling out unchecked. You're no different. You kept secrets too. Why should I trust you now? A heavy silence settles between you, tense and volatile. Finally, your friend sighs deeply, stepping closer, their voice low and controlled. Because this silence between us, it's exactly what she wanted. She used it to divide us, manipulate us. But I think we both misunderstood something critical. You wait, pulse racing, desperate for clarity. She was protecting someone, not accusing. That's why she stayed silent. Her silence screamed guilt. Yes, but whose guilt? Your friend's words rippled through your mind, shifting perspectives like a kaleidoscope, rearranging your entire understanding. Could silence, rather than accusation, have been a shield, all along a twisted form of loyalty? What if you've been the suspect all along? You whisper uncertainly, echoing the paranoia rooted deep within. Your friend shakes their head, eyes steady and sober. Or what if you were the victim of someone else's silence? Before you can respond, a sudden crash from the hallway shatters your fragile moment of clarity. Both of you freeze, turning sharply toward the door, pulses synchronized in fear. Someone else is here. Footsteps approach swiftly, heavy and purposeful. Panic floods your veins, adrenaline tightening every nerve. Your friend's eyes meet yours, silent agreement passing between you. Trust might be broken, but survival demands alliance now. Stay silent. Your friend breathes urgently, stepping protectively toward you. Sometimes, silence is our only weapon. The footsteps halt outside the door. You hold your breath, heart pounding violently in your chest. Slowly, the doorknob begins to turn. The door opens slowly, its agonizing creak echoing like a scream in the silence. You shrink back instinctively, shoulder pressing against your friend's. Together you wait, tense, motionless, two shadows holding their breath in the dim room. A figure steps inside, silhouetted ominously by the hallway's pale fluorescent light. Your eyes strain desperately, searching for clarity, for recognition. Every heartbeat pounds in your ears, louder with each passing second. Then the figure moves fully into the room, letting the door close softly behind them. You recognize the detective from the crime scene immediately, his face unreadable, expression tight with suspicion. His eyes sweep the room methodically, settling finally upon you and your friend, tension radiating from his posture like a barely contained storm. Well, he says coolly, breaking the strained silence. This is interesting. Your friend shifts slightly, cautious yet defiant. Detective, we didn't. He holds up a hand sharply, cutting your friend off mid-sentence. Spare me. Right now, all I want is silence. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. He steps further inside, letting his gaze linger on each detail, the photograph clutched in your hand, the keys lying exposed on the table, the room itself, brimming with half-exposed secrets. You sense he sees every truth, every lie, every hidden motive painted plainly across your faces. I've followed you since the beginning, the detective says quietly, voice dangerously calm. Dangerously. Did you really think your silence would protect you? Your pulse quickens violently, His words echo painfully, too familiar, too accusing. He turns his attention directly toward you, pinning you with a stare you can't escape. Your silence screams louder than any confession could. Why don't you tell me why you're really here? You open your mouth, but no words emerge, only hesitation, uncertainty, tangled tightly with guilt. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Exactly, he continues softly, taking your silence as confirmation. You've been hiding something from the start, something you're too afraid or too guilty to admit. Your friend interrupts sharply, voice firm despite the tension. Detective, we came here looking for answers, just like you. The detective's gaze narrows dangerously, and yet you're hiding behind the very same silence that started this mess. Both of you connected by secrets, betrayal, and lies. His accusation slices deep, tearing open the tenuous trust you'd just begun rebuilding. You glance at your friend, uncertainty reflected plainly between you. Could silence have betrayed you both from the beginning? It was never about the truth. It was about control. Finally, the detective moves closer, standing mere inches from you. His presence is intimidating, each word delivered quietly, deliberately. Did you know she contacted me? He asks softly, voice carefully measured. She said someone close to her was hiding something. She didn't give names, didn't give specifics, just silence, whispers of secrets, fear of betrayal. He leans in even closer, voice dropping to a near whisper. That silence speaks volumes now, doesn't it? Your stomach knots painfully. The detective's revelation adds a new, chilling layer of complexity. Could she have orchestrated every twist, every moment of paranoia and suspicion, guiding you deliberately into this tangled web? Why would she do that? You manage to whisper, voice cracking slightly under the strain. Protection. The detective replies softly, eyes dark and unreadable. Or manipulation. It depends how you look at it. Your friend shifts uneasily, tension radiating from every rigid muscle. She's the one manipulating us, forcing silence and secrets to tear us apart. Is she? The detective counters sharply, turning his gaze fully onto your friend. Or did your silence help bury something inconvenient, something you'd prefer forgotten? The accusation hits your friend like a physical blow. They flinch visibly, eyes flashing dangerously, anger mixing sharply with sudden doubt. What are you suggesting? Your friend snaps, voice low and defensive. The detective's voice remains even, carefully controlled. You were close to her, closer than anyone admitted, maybe close enough to be threatened by whatever secrets she held. Your friend stiffens sharply, breath catching audibly, eyes darting briefly toward you, then back to the detective. The fragile alliance between you suddenly trembles dangerously, suspicion seeping back in like poison. What if you've been the suspect all along, detective? You interject quickly, desperately trying to diffuse the tension. We're here searching for answers, not accusations. He shakes his head slowly, expression hardening further. Answers require truth, and truth requires someone to speak. Silence will get us nowhere. Then help us. Your friend pleads urgently, voice breaking slightly. Genuine desperation now clear. You have answers. We don't. If silence is the problem, tell us what you know. For the first time, the detective pauses, visibly conflicted. He glances away, exhaling deeply, as if debating silently whether to reveal more or retreat further behind the shield of suspicion. Finally, he nods slightly, a brief concession. Fine. She left something behind, a recording, locked away where she thought no one would find it. But I did. It's silence, Mostly minutes and minutes of nothing until the very end, when she whispered one sentence. Your heart races wildly, breath shallow, waiting anxiously for the detective to reveal the words. He leans in closer, voice hushed yet piercing. She said, "Don't trust silence. It will always betray you." His revelation chills your blood, every paranoid suspicion crystallizing into certainty. Silence has become your enemy, a weapon used against you by everyone involved, including yourself. But the detective isn't finished yet. He reaches into his coat pocket, withdrawing a small device, a recorder. "You deserve to hear it yourselves," he says quietly, pressing a button. A faint static fills the room, silence crackling through the tiny speaker, empty yet heavy with tension. Then, after a long pause, her voice emerges softly, familiar, haunting, filled with a quiet urgency. "Silence kills. Don't let it kill you too." The recording ends abruptly, plunging the room back into a suffocating quiet. The three of you stand frozen, trapped by her whispered warning truth, now hanging exposed, raw and undeniable. "Now," the detective whispers softly, turning back toward you, gaze intense, unyielding. "Someone needs to speak before silence consumes us all." The demand hangs in the air, heavy and unanswerable, and suddenly you realize silence might have already won. The detective's words linger, crackling in the quiet air like static. You sense your pulse beating erratically in your veins, fear and urgency tangling tightly in your chest. Her recorded voice, barely more than a whisper, echoes still, haunting and accusatory. Your throat tightens, the silence around you now unbearably oppressive. "Someone needs to speak," the detective repeats, softer this time, but the command in his voice is unmistakable. His gaze shifts pointedly from you to your friend, then back, a silent ultimatum: reveal your secrets, or let silence destroy everything. Your friend looks away, avoiding your eyes, a subtle betrayal that cuts deeper than words ever could. You feel the tension between you two like a tangible force, twisting sharply, snapping every fragile thread of trust. The recording's final words pulse louder, reverberating deep within you. Silence kills. Your voice falters, the sound hollow and strained. You clear your throat, forcing strength you don't feel. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." The detective's eyes narrow slightly, patient, yet unyielding. "Then tell me exactly what happened that night." You swallow hard, panic fluttering against your ribs. Memories flicker rapidly, fragmented and uncertain. Rain-soaked streets, hurried footsteps, whispered arguments. You glance toward your friend again, desperate for reassurance, but their expression remains guarded, unreadable. "You were there," your friend finally says quietly, turning their gaze slowly to meet yours. "I saw you, even if you don't remember clearly. You ran away, but I stayed." Your stomach knots violently at their words. They stayed, meaning they saw everything. Your silence, your forgotten moments, every unspoken truth. They know it all. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You whisper, echoing the phrase, haunting every step of your twisted journey. Your friend nods slowly, their expression filled with bitter resignation. "I thought protecting you meant silence, until silence became our prison." "Enough," the detective interrupts, his voice edged sharply. "You stayed silent to protect each other, or yourselves." Your friend sighs, eyes shadowed with remorse. "Both. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones." The detective's gaze hardens again, frustration simmering dangerously. He reaches into his coat, withdrawing something small and familiar, the glove, the one from your desk drawer. Your breath catches sharply. "This glove," he says coldly, voice steady yet threatening, "links directly to the night of the crime. Fingerprints, evidence. It all points somewhere neither of you can deny." He tosses it onto the table, where it lands softly, accusingly. Your friend's eyes flicker toward it, fear briefly visible beneath their carefully controlled expression. "You found it in my apartment," you murmur softly, dread seeping into your voice. "But it's hers." The detective nods slowly. "But only your fingerprints were on it. Hers were wiped clean." Why, your thoughts spiral frantically. If your prints alone remain, it paints you clearly as guilty unless someone intended exactly that outcome. Could silence and manipulation have framed you from the beginning? It was never about the truth. It was about control. You turn sharply toward your friend, eyes searching their face urgently. "Did you plant it? Did you frame me?" Hurt flashes briefly in their eyes, quickly replaced by guarded anger. "You think I'd do that to you?" "Someone did." You snap back desperately, feeling betrayal coil tighter around your heart. Who else had access? Someone clever enough to exploit silence as their weapon. The detective interjects coldly, stepping between you both. Someone who understood that silence creates suspicion, and suspicion breeds betrayal. You turn slowly toward him, realization dawning sharply. "You think she did this intentionally? That all this silence was deliberate?" He nods slowly, eyes glittering darkly. "Silence is never accidental. It's calculated, purposeful." Your heart pounds violently. Each revelation shifts perspectives, twists loyalties, fractures certainty further. Yet somehow, beneath chaos, clarity emerges. The silent woman was never truly your accuser. Her silence was a shield, or perhaps a carefully concealed trap. But for whom? "What if?" you whisper, voice shaking with sudden insight. Her silence was protection, but not for herself. What if she was protecting someone else? Someone close, someone she cared about more than herself. Your friend stiffens sharply, eyes widening slightly in sudden understanding. Like us, the detective frowns thoughtfully, processing the implications slowly. She stayed silent, sacrificing herself to protect one of you. But why love? Your friend breathes softly, realization dawning painfully, or guilt. Silence fills the room again, heavy and suffocating, thick with accusation and confusion. The detective rubs his temples, visibly frustrated, yet unwilling to surrender control. "Silence alone won't resolve this," he mutters darkly. "Someone must break it. One of you knows exactly what happened. Speak now before silence buries us all." Your friend finally meets your gaze directly, remorse and fear mingling in their expression. "I saw her after you left. She was terrified. Someone threatened her. Someone she trusted completely." Your pulse quickens violently. Who? They hesitate briefly, voice strained with pain and regret. "She wouldn't say, but she made me promise to protect you. That's why I stayed silent, why I hid evidence, to shield you from suspicion." Your breath catches painfully, throat tightening sharply. "Protect me." "But why?" Your friend looks away, voice dropping to a whisper. "Because she believed you were innocent, even if you doubted yourself." Their admission strikes you sharply, shattering self-doubt, reframing every accusation, every silent judgment you've internalized. Could you truly be innocent? Your memories blurred by manipulation, silence weaponized to imprison your mind. But even clarity holds danger. The detective steps forward again, interrupting fiercely. Innocence doesn't hide. Silence implies guilt. You understand why you're here, don't you? You're still suspects, both of you. His voice pierces sharply, breaking the fragile peace you'd begun feeling. Reality twists again, tension knotting tighter. Your friend's voice emerges softly, strained, yet firm. We'll find the truth, detective. But silence won't trap us anymore. The detective's eyes narrow skeptically. Prove it. You glance at your friend, trust beginning to rebuild in quiet solidarity. You nod slowly, determination hardening within. We will. You promise softly. Silence can't hide forever. The truth will come out, even if it destroys everything. The detective watches closely, sensing sincerity yet wary. Make sure it does, because silence is patient, but it never forgets. He turns, stepping slowly toward the door, pausing briefly at the threshold. Remember, this silence doesn't forgive. Neither do I. Then he's gone, leaving you alone with your friend in the haunted stillness of room 213. You stand silently, emotions swirling wildly. Fear, betrayal, relief, hope. Your friend steps closer, eyes cautious yet hopeful. We've let silence control us too long. Now we fight it together. You nod quietly, heart pounding with newfound resolve. Yet deep within, a whisper still echoes hauntingly. What if you've been the suspect all along? The question remains unanswered. Silence may have lost its grip tonight, but its shadow still lingers, waiting patiently, ready to reclaim everything. You leave the hotel together, stepping onto the street beneath a sky bruised dark with approaching dawn. The chill in the air seeps beneath your skin, mingling uneasily with your lingering doubts. Beside you, your friend walks quietly, footsteps matching yours, rhythmic yet uncertain. The detective's warning remains fresh, pulsing ominously in your mind. Silence doesn't forgive. Neither do I. Neither of you speaks at first. The uneasy quiet stretching taut between you, filled with unspoken questions and lingering mistrust. The streets are nearly empty, the city holding its breath as if awaiting your next move. Where do we go from here? Your friend finally murmurs softly, breaking the oppressive stillness. You glance sideways, seeing your own exhaustion and fear reflected clearly in their eyes. We retrace her steps, every clue, every place she visited. We break the silence ourselves. They nod slowly, determination flickering gently within their weary expression. Starting with the apartment again. There must be something we missed, some detail hidden deeper beneath her silence. You agree silently, changing direction instinctively, moving toward the heart of the mystery, the apartment where everything first fractured, where silence first screamed accusation. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Morning seeps gently over the city as you approach her building, streetlights flickering off reluctantly. You pause at the entrance, both suddenly hesitant, aware you're willingly stepping back into shadows that nearly consumed you. Inside, the hallway remains empty, echoes of your footsteps familiar and haunting. Her apartment door is ajar, left precisely as you fled it, earlier open slightly. An invitation or a trap, unclear which. Pushing the door wider, you step carefully into the room, its interior bathed softly in pale morning light. Immediately, your gaze settles again on the torn photograph resting atop the table, its silent accusation as potent as ever. But your friend moves quickly, opening drawers, cabinets, shifting furniture methodically, searching desperately for overlooked truths. You join the search, driven by urgency. instincts sharpened by paranoia and fear. Then, beneath a stack of untouched papers, you uncover something different: letters, neatly bundled yet unopened. You glance at your friend, pulse quickening sharply. Carefully, you untie the faded string. Opening the first envelope, the page inside is blank, empty as silence itself. Your friend exhales in frustration, disappointment etched deeply on their face. More silence, another dead end, but something whispers urgently in your mind intuitively. You hold the letter to the light, studying it closely. Faint outlines of words emerge slowly, hidden ink, secrets deliberately concealed. It's invisible ink. You breathe sharply, heart racing. You retrieve a lighter from the nearby table, passing the flame carefully beneath the letter. Slowly, letters appear faintly, darkening gently, spelling out sentences that pulse with restrained urgency. If you're reading this, my silence failed. Someone close betrayed me. Trust no one. Your breath catches violently. You show your friend, whose expression darkens sharply. She knew. She knew exactly what was happening. Someone close. You whisper softly, dread pooling heavily within. She meant one of us, or someone we trust implicitly. Your friend nods grimly, tension returning thickly between you. How many letters? You count quickly. 5. Carefully, one by one, you reveal the hidden messages, each note increasingly desperate, accusing yet protective. Each letter sketches a darker portrait of betrayal, someone systematically eroding trust, weaponizing silence, twisting secrets into knives. The final letter shakes your foundations completely. I saw them clearly this time. They think silence can protect them. They're wrong, it won't save anyone, especially not you. Your eyes lock sharply with your friend's. Suspicion, renewed painfully. Who was them? The ones who betrayed her trust. Could silence have disguised deeper manipulation? It was never about the truth. It was about control. A sudden, insistent knocking at the door jolts you sharply. Your friend's eyes widen, fear returning swiftly, primal and raw. Carefully, you step toward the door, pulse thudding painfully. Peering cautiously through the peephole, you spot someone unexpected. A familiar face, anxious, urgent. You open the door warily, revealing the homeless man you passed countless times near her apartment. His eyes dart nervously, voice strained. She told me, if something happened, find you, tell you what I saw. Your heart leaps painfully. What did you see? He glances behind him nervously. I saw who she met that night. I saw who she argued with, who threatened her. But silence ain't safe no more. You usher him quickly inside, shutting the door firmly. He moves anxiously, glancing between you and your friend with suspicion. Your pulse quickens violently as his eyes settle finally on your friend, widening in startled recognition. It was you, he whispers, voice shaking violently. You were there. You argued. You threatened her. You told her. Silence was the only way. Your friend stiffens sharply, eyes wide, panic erupting violently. No, that's not true. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You accuse sharply, betrayal erupting painfully. You hid behind silence, lying to me all along. Your friend's expression twists with desperate denial. I never threatened her. I was protecting you. She was going to expose something you did, something dangerous. Silence was supposed to keep everyone safe. Your heart pounds furiously, dread tangling violently with confusion. Could your friend have orchestrated everything betrayal hidden beneath trust? Silence masking truth. What did she know about me, you demand shakily? Your friend hesitates, eyes filled with anguish. She knew you were manipulated, blackmailed. Someone else was pulling your strings, using your silence to hide their own guilt. Who, you whisper urgently, desperation raw. Your friend shakes their head frantically. She never said who, just someone you trusted deeply. Silence fills the room again, thick and oppressive. The homeless man shifts anxiously, glancing nervously between you both. All I know is what I saw: two people, arguing fierce. One ran, one stayed quiet. She was crying. Your breath catches painfully. Crying. He nods slowly. She whispered something. She said silence was killing her, but speaking would kill someone else. The realization cuts deeply. Her silence was sacrifice, protection born from twisted loyalty. But loyalty to whom? You glance sharply at your friend. Uncertainty and suspicion entangled. Was their silence truly protective or dangerously manipulative? What if you've been the suspect all along? You turn slowly toward the window, heart heavy with dread. Below, the street sits quiet, innocent, unaware how deeply betrayal seeps beneath ordinary facades. Your friend approaches hesitantly, voice soft yet insistent. We're trapped by silence and suspicion, but we can break free if we trust each other enough. Your heart hesitates painfully, torn between trust and betrayal. Can we? They nod firmly, desperation mingling with determination. We must, or silence wins. Outside, morning sunlight sharpens reality, illuminating every hidden crack, every shadowy corner. You close your eyes briefly, feeling silence loosen its deadly grip just enough for hope to flicker gently. Yet deep within, doubts whisper persistently. Can silence ever truly be broken? Or does it simply wait, patient and deadly, until betrayal strikes again? You stand at the window, staring down at the quiet street below. Morning sunlight streams in gently, yet its warmth does little to dispel the chill gripping your heart. Behind you, your friend sits silently on the sofa, eyes locked onto the letters spread across the table, their expression haunted by revelations neither of you fully understands. The homeless man shifts nervously by the door, fidgeting with a worn cap, glancing anxiously between the two of you, as though unsure if he's made a dangerous mistake. You're certain about what you saw, you ask again. Voice tense, hoping desperately for a different answer, one that doesn't unravel everything you've believed. He nods slowly, eyes weary but steady. I seen plenty things I wished I didn't, but I don't lie. She was scared, real scared. Whoever she was arguing with, they wasn't playing games. You glance toward your friend, whose gaze remains fixed stubbornly downward, unable or unwilling to meet your eyes. The silence between you feels like a bridge crumbling rapidly beneath your feet. Trust slipping through your fingers like sand. You knew, you say quietly, the accusation gentler now, steeped in confusion rather than anger. You knew she feared someone close. Why keep it from me? They finally look up, eyes tired, dark with regret, because she begged me not to involve you. She believed silence was safer, that ignorance protected you. Your throat tightens painfully. Ignorance, silence, both chains that now bind you in suffocating doubt. Protected me from what? They hesitate briefly, as though gathering courage for a revelation that might shatter everything. From the truth that someone you trusted had used your silence against you. She feared speaking would force them to harm you. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Your pulse quickens sharply. each heartbeat echoing painfully in your chest. Who? Your friend's voice trembles softly, words barely more than a whisper. The detective. Shock ripples through your veins, freezing your breath. But why control? They answer, voice steadying with painful certainty. Silence made you the perfect scapegoat. You remember nothing clearly. He exploited that, feeding your paranoia, guiding suspicion onto you. You shake your head violently, unwilling to believe, yet unable to deny the fragments aligning painfully. The detective's appearances, his cryptic warnings, carefully timed clues, all orchestrated meticulously, using your silence to build an airtight cage around your guilt. It was never about the truth, it was about control. Your gaze flickers to the letters again, invisible words revealed only by fire, warnings concealed in silence until it was too late. The homeless man speaks hesitantly, breaking your turmoil briefly. She trusted him once. He murmurs softly. Then something changed. Said he got obsessed with secrets, making everyone stay quiet. Like pawns on a board. Obsession. Your friend whispers bitterly. He orchestrated everything. Forced silence, manipulated fear. Every clue, every photograph, it was him. Weaving paranoia into your mind. Your stomach twists violently. Betrayal tearing painfully at every belief. Why involve her? Then, why target someone innocent? Because she found out. Your friend replies grimly. She uncovered his secrets, realized the truth. Her silence wasn't fear, it was defiance, a final act of resistance. Resistance that cost her everything. You whisper, voice shaking with rage and grief intertwined. He killed her to keep secrets silent. Your friend nods slowly, grief mirroring yours, and framed you perfectly. Your silence was his greatest weapon. What if you've been the suspect all along? Now, finally, clarity emerges painfully. Truth unraveling, lies carefully constructed from silence. You glance toward the homeless man, voice urgent, resolute. We need proof, something undeniable, something that shatters silence forever. He nods solemnly, eyes determined. There's something else. She gave me something. Said, keep it safe till someone came looking. He reaches into his worn coat, withdrawing a small recorder, identical to the detective's, but battered, clearly older. Your friend moves quickly, placing it carefully on the table. Together, you lean forward, breathlessly, pressing play. Static crackles softly. Then her voice emerges clearer, steady yet strained with urgency. If you are hearing this, silence failed me, but maybe it won't fail you. He believes silence controls everything, but it can be his undoing. I hid evidence, the glove, keys, photographs, not to frame you, but to protect you. Your silence protected him too long. End it now. The recording ends abruptly. Silence once again flooding the room, yet this silence feels different, heavier with truth rather than suspicion. You glance toward your friend, heart pounding with newfound determination. We confront him. Together, they nod solemnly, resolve hardening their expression. No more silence, no more manipulation. But as you rise, preparing to leave, footsteps echo sharply in the hallway, moving swiftly toward the door. Your heart leaps painfully, dread flooding instantly. The door bursts open, revealing the detective gun drawn, expression twisted dangerously, eyes burning with fury. You should have stayed silent. He growls sharply. It was your only chance. Adrenaline surges violently, fear twisting sharply within your chest. Your friend steps protectively forward, voice trembling but fierce. Silence is done protecting you. The truth is out. He laughs bitterly, eyes dark with hatred. Truth is worthless. Silence wins always. His finger tightens slightly on the trigger, the barrel shifting menacingly between you both. Your pulse hammers painfully, reality suspended in this tense standoff. You used silence against everyone. You accuse sharply, voice shaking with anger. Why? He steps forward slowly, voice dangerously quiet. Because silence is control. Everyone trapped in their own fears, unable to speak, unable to fight back. You proved how powerful silence can be, how easy manipulation becomes. His eyes glitter darkly, satisfaction briefly flashing. But now, you forced my hand. Your silence was my shield. Your deaths will restore it. His finger begins to tighten again, but suddenly, movement erupts behind him. The homeless man lunges forward, knocking the detective off balance. The gun fires wildly, shattering silence with a sharp explosion. You move instinctively, adrenaline propelling you forward, wrestling desperately with the detective, fighting for control. Your friend leaps in, helping overpower him, the weapon clattering harmlessly away. The detective collapses heavily, breathing raggedly, defeat shadowing his expression. Silence fills the room again, but this time, it's yours to control. Silence won't save you now, you whisper, stepping away shakily, your voice firm, resolute. Truth is stronger. He glares up weakly, voice bitter yet resigned. Truth won't undo what's done. No, you agree softly, glancing toward your friend. Solidarity restored painfully yet genuinely, but silence can't hide it anymore. Outside, sunlight floods the city, chasing away lingering shadows. Together, you step forward, reclaiming your voices, shattering silence's chains forever. Yet deep within, doubts remain quietly persistent. Will the echoes of silence ever truly vanish, or simply wait patiently, ready to reclaim everything once again? Police lights flicker softly across the apartment walls, splashing hues of red and blue in rhythmic pulses. Officers move quietly, methodically, securing evidence, taking statements, their murmured voices weaving a subtle soundtrack beneath your thoughts. You sit near the window, wrapped in a blanket offered by an EMT, yet the chill inside you feels untouched by warmth. Beside you, your friend sits quietly, eyes weary yet watchful, both of you silently absorbing the aftermath. Across the room, the detective, now handcuffed, shoulders slumped in defeat, refuses to meet your gaze. A silent admission of guilt, clearer than words ever could be. It was never about the truth, it was about control. A younger detective approaches cautiously, notebook open, eyes kind but questioning. I know it's difficult, but we need your full statement. Everything you remember clearly. You glance toward your friend, seeking reassurance. They nod gently, eyes urging you forward. You begin slowly, words hesitant at first, but gradually gathering strength. Every sentence you utter feels like an unraveling, a release from silence's suffocating grip. When you finish, the young detective nods gratefully, understanding deepening her gaze. Thank you. It helps more than you know. Silence protects the guilty, it's brave to break it. She leaves softly, returning to the organized chaos of the scene. Your friend exhales gently, relief evident beneath lingering tension. You did it. You finally spoke. Silence lost. You manage a faint, uncertain smile for now. Your friend's expression darkens slightly, understanding your caution. He won't control us again. We know silence's tricks now. You nod quietly, still uneasy. Trust feels fragile, easily fractured. You glance toward the detective again, once trusted, now exposed as your manipulator. His defeat offers little satisfaction, only painful awareness of how thoroughly silence can distort truth. As dawn strengthens outside, officers gradually finish their tasks, departing quietly, leaving behind a silence no longer oppressive, yet not entirely comforting. Eventually, only you and your friend remain facing the echoes of everything revealed, still haunted by questions unanswered. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Hours later, alone in your apartment, you sit quietly, exhaustion heavy yet sleep elusive. You stare blankly at the table, now clear, evidence removed, but your mind continues replaying memories, searching desperately for overlooked clues or lingering threats. A knock at your door jolts your pulse sharply. You rise cautiously, opening it slowly to reveal your friend, eyes dark with worry, a small package in their hands. This was left for you downstairs, they say softly, handing it over hesitantly. Your stomach knots tightly. Carefully, you unwrap it, revealing a small, battered notebook, her notebook. Your breath catches sharply. Inside, pages are filled with hurried handwriting notes, observations, fears scribbled hastily. You flip quickly through, each entry deepening dread, yet illuminating truth painfully. He uses silence against everyone. Trust no one fully. Silence is the weapon he wields masterfully. Your friend's voice interrupts gently, hesitant, yet curious. Anything useful? You nod slowly, heart pounding. She tracked everything. Her silence hid truth, but she still fought back against him. Your friend murmurs softly, "But why frame you?" You shake your head uncertainly. "To protect me, I think." She knew exposing him was dangerous, maybe deadly. She thought silence would shield me. Your friend sighs deeply, eyes heavy with regret. Silence nearly destroyed you instead. You glance upward, gaze steadying resolutely, but it didn't. Truth won. They nod slowly, hope flickering gently in their expression. Then silence lost its power. Yet as they leave, doubt remains stubbornly rooted deep within. Silence may have lost this battle, but can it truly ever lose entirely? Late that night, restlessness drives you outside, wandering aimlessly through empty streets, mind troubled, searching still for elusive closure. Eventually, you find yourself standing again before her building, drawn back instinctively to where silence first screamed guilt. You step quietly into her apartment, now empty, shadows stretching hauntingly across bare walls. Yet, somehow, presence lingers, her silence, her courage, her fear. Your pulse quickens softly, aware someone else is here. "Hello," you call gently, stepping cautiously forward. Silence replies until footsteps emerge softly from the shadows. You freeze sharply, heart pounding violently. Then slowly, clearly, you see her, impossible, yet undeniably real, standing quietly in shadowed stillness. You're alive," you whisper, disbelief choking your voice. She nods slowly, eyes weary yet gentle. He tried, but silence protected me. I needed everyone to believe I was gone to finally break silence's control. Relief floods painfully through your chest, followed instantly by confusion. Why didn't you tell me? Because silence had to be broken completely. and only your courage could shatter it fully. She replies softly. You faced your fears, confronted silence itself. You're free now. Your breath trembles softly, overwhelmed. But what now? She steps forward, gently, voice steady with quiet strength. Now we rebuild trust, voice by voice. Silence is powerful, but it can't stand against truth forever. You nod slowly, hope cautiously rekindling. Yet hesitation remains stubbornly persistent. How do we trust again, knowing silence can destroy everything? She smiles, faintly, eyes knowing yet compassionate. We learn from silence's power. Never underestimate it again. Silence will always exist, but how we use it defines everything. What if silence returns stronger, darker? You whisper softly, dread shadowing your voice. She shakes her head gently. Then we fight harder. Truth can't exist without silence, but silence can't control truth anymore. Her words settle deeply, clarity finally replacing doubt. You nod quietly, resolve solidifying firmly. Then we start now. No more silence unspoken, no more truths hidden. She smiles softly, stepping forward, gently, hand reaching out warmly. Together, we reclaim our voices. You accept her hand, warmth chasing away lingering chill. Outside, dawn illuminates city streets clearly, chasing shadows into hiding. Yet as you both step forward, reclaiming truth boldly, deep within your heart, whispers linger persistently. Silence waits patiently. Can truth truly defeat it forever, or simply keep it briefly at bay? For now, hope blooms quietly, silence losing its oppressive hold. But you remain cautiously aware truth won tonight. Yet silence's shadow still lingers patiently, ready to reclaim power once more. The days that follow feel strangely light, at least on the surface. Headlines shift from confusion to clarity. Disgraced, detective arrested in manipulation scandal, tied to missing woman. The public, ravenous for stories of betrayal, eats it up. You, however, know that this is no clean ending. You're no longer hiding. You're being watched. Not by him anymore. He's locked away now. His silence broken by the sharp clang of a jail cell door, but by the ripple effects of everything he orchestrated. Victims who didn't even realize they were victims. People who let silence settle over them because it was easier, safer. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. She stays with you now, or near enough. After the staged disappearance, the isolation, the cryptic letters, it's strange seeing her alive again. Not just alive, but human, real. She eats toast too slowly. She folds clothes like she's fighting them. She keeps her phone off all the time. I still hear him. She says one evening, eyes distant, voice low. Not his voice, just the space where it used to be. You understand. You feel it too. What he left behind wasn't just trauma. It was architecture, a structure of silence so intricately designed that sometimes you can't tell whether a pause is just a pause or the weight of his presence lingering, even now. It was never about the truth. It was about control. One night, you wake to the sound of something falling, a frame from the bookshelf, shattered glass across the floor. She's already in the living room when you reach it, pale, still, not afraid, resigned. It fell on its own, you say, crouching down to gather the broken pieces. No, she replies, nothing does, not anymore. You pause. A memory stirs something from weeks ago, back when the photographs first appeared. You'd convinced yourself someone was planting them. But what if they weren't meant to frame? What if they were meant to warn? A new possibility chills you. The detective wasn't the only one playing the long game. His silence was obvious, theatrical, but someone else moved quieter, smarter, beneath even his radar. What if he wasn't working alone? You whisper. She doesn't respond, but she doesn't look surprised either. You knew, but pretended you didn't. The police found no accomplice, no digital trail, no evidence of a broader conspiracy. But then again, silence doesn't leave fingerprints. It only leaves voids, places where something should have been said, but wasn't. One of the letters, her invisible ones, had a line you can't stop thinking about. The real threat isn't the one who speaks lies. It's the one who makes others stay quiet. You revisit her notebook, flipping through hastily scribbled pages, postmarks, timestamps. There are patterns, names, symbols. One in particular, a small circle with a diagonal line through it, scribbled in the margins of every page where she mentioned fear. You spot it again, on a newspaper clipping pinned to your fridge. From weeks ago. You didn't notice it before. It was so subtle, but now it screams. What does this mean, you ask, holding it out to her. She looks at it for a long moment. Then it means it's not over. You stare at her. Why didn't you tell me? Because I needed you to be safe, she says, eyes tired. And safe meant silent. But you've heard that excuse before from him, from everyone, from yourself. What if staying silent is what keeps us in danger? You ask, voice low, urgent. She nods slowly. Then it's time to make noise. That night, you start cataloging everything. Photographs, recordings, her notes, the manipulated timelines. You call the young detective the one who actually listened, and you explain what you think is happening. She believes you, or at least, she believes something's still wrong. The truth is no longer buried, but it's not free either. What if you've been the suspect all along? You're not anymore. Now, you're something worse, the witness who knows too much, and witnesses disappear. At least, that's the message implied in the envelope you find slipped under your door the next morning. No note, just a photograph, a picture of you, taken last night, through your window. You stare at it, the edges curling slightly from humidity. Your hands shake, but only a little. You place the photo beside the others, tape it to the wall. Then you lock the door, close the blinds, and sit at your desk. This time, you'll be the one leaving the message, because silence has ruled long enough, because now it's your turn to speak. You spend the entire day writing, not just journaling or venting, but documenting every scrap of memory you've suppressed, every seemingly minor inconsistency from her timeline, every glance that lasted too long, every silence that stretched too far. Names, dates, locations, it all goes into a digital folder titled simply Noise, because that's what you're building now. Not a case, not a confession. Noise, something that can't be silenced. By sundown, the walls of your apartment are covered in pages, photos, letters, pins, and red string if you want to get cliché about it. But the effect is clear. Patterns emerge, threads connect, and one thing becomes certain. He wasn't acting alone. It was never just the detective. It was never just you. She enters quietly, carrying coffee and a stack of printouts. She doesn't ask questions anymore. You work in unison now, synchronized by survival. She hands you a photo, new, one you haven't seen before. It's of the two of you, standing outside the hotel room, room 213. The timestamp is from 2 nights ago. I didn't take this, she says quietly. You stare at it, dread rising like tide water. Then who did? She shrugs. Whoever's still watching. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. You scan the photo again, but something's off, not just that it exists, but what's behind you. In the far corner of the frame, caught in the reflection of a cracked window, is a face, barely visible. A smear of light and shadow, but it's there. You see it, you whisper. She nods. I saw him before. What do you mean? Her voice is calm, but there's something underneath fatigue fear. Before the detective, before the manipulation, I thought he was just a neighbor, harmless, quiet. You stare at the reflection again, pulse rising. The angles match the man who lives across from you, the one who never speaks, the one whose blinds are always half open. You've passed him a dozen times in the stairwell, never spoke, never even made eye contact. He was background noise. Now, he's the only thing you hear. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You rise slowly, moving to the window, across the street. The lights in his apartment flicker off like he knew you were looking, like this was all a game. Your heart pounds in your ears. We can't stay here, she says, already pulling a backpack from the closet. We're too visible, but leaving feels wrong, like giving up ground you've finally started to claim. No, you say, if they want to watch, they can watch us fight. She freezes for a moment, searching your face. Are you sure? No. You admit, but I'm done being silent. You take out your phone and open a live stream. No filters, no preamble, just your face and your voice. If you're watching this, you begin. Then you're part of something bigger than you realize. You hold up one of the photographs, then a torn letter, then the glove. Evidence once hidden, now illuminated. There's been a system in place, one that uses silence to manipulate, to threaten, to erase. A detective tried to control it, but he wasn't alone. Someone's still out there, watching, waiting. The camera records everything, your wall of evidence, your voice steady and calm. Then, her voice joins yours. This isn't just our story. It could be yours too. Think about every time you were told to stay quiet. Every moment you questioned your own memory because someone else controlled the narrative. You hold the camera close. Let the silence between your words speak. Silence only wins if we let it. We're not letting it anymore. You end the stream and wait. It doesn't take long. The comments flood in. I saw the symbol too. I was threatened after a false confession. I thought I was alone. You're not alone. You were never alone. You just didn't realize silence had so many victims. You sit back, exhaling shakily. She closes the laptop, her expression unreadable. It started, she says. No, you correct. It's woken up. What if you've been the suspect all along? You were, but now you're the signal. And somewhere in the building across the street, someone watches you in the dark, hands clenched, plans unraveling. You don't know who they are yet, but they know who you are. And you've just made yourself loud. The stream goes viral by morning. Not explosive viral, no dancing, no outrage bait, but the kind of slow-burning storm that creeps across the internet like a rumor no one can trace. Shared in private Discord servers, passed in encrypted threads, echoed in Reddit corners and sub-forums with names like Dead Canaries, Whisper Safe, No Doubt Left. The video is clipped, transcribed, annotated. People freeze frames, zoom in on background details, overlay timelines. Try to identify your voice, her voice. Try to guess your location from the angle of the light or the style of the blinds behind you. And then the messages start coming in. Some are cautious. I thought I was the only one who saw that symbol. The glove. The glove's important. It always shows up before someone disappears. Some are angry. You're putting a target on your back. They're going to come for you. You think this is new? This has been going on for years. You're late. But the ones that matter, the ones that chill your bones, are the ones that confirm everything you feared. My sister vanished in 2018. She mailed me a key like yours. Then silence. My husband said someone made him confess he forgot things like they were erased. That detective's name came up too. We tried speaking out. And then we didn't. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Now you can't pretend anymore. You can't. She scrolls through the comments beside you, her fingers trembling slightly. They're confirming the pattern. She murmurs. The symbols, the gaps in memory, the disappearances. They're too widespread to be coincidence. You reply. This isn't just a broken man with a badge. It's a system, a silence, network. The phrase lands like a stone in the room. Heavy, too big to understand fully, but real. Your phone buzzes. A new message. No name, no number, just text. You've been loud enough. Stop now or be stopped. You read it twice before showing her. She doesn't blink. They're scared. She says, already. She shakes her head. If they were ready, they wouldn't warn us. They'd act. That night, you sleep with one eye open. Your apartment's too exposed now, too well known. But leaving again feels like surrender. So instead, you record everything. External hard drives, cloud backups, a burner laptop with two-factor authentication. The notebook is scanned and uploaded to an anonymous server. Someone in the comments suggested, you are no longer alone. You are no longer silent. But you're not safe either. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And you've broken that control, even if only slightly. Then, on the third day, something changes. You wake to find your apartment door slightly ajar. Not broken, not forced, just open. A single sheet of paper lies on the floor. You pick it up carefully, scanning for anything: fingerprints, watermarks, symbols. But there's only one sentence, typed in a clean serif font. You were never the only witness, just the only one we missed. You sit down slowly. What does that mean? You check your messages. 2 missed calls from numbers marked as unknown. 1 voicemail. You play it on speaker. Heart in your throat. There's no voice, just breathing, soft, steady, familiar. Her face goes pale across the room. It's the man from the window, she says, her voice shaking. The one I thought was a neighbor. How do you know? She doesn't answer with words. She just walks to your evidence wall and pulls down a photo you forgot you even had. It's from the week before all of this began. A photo of the 2 of you standing on a train platform. And in the far background, there he is, watching, blurry, out of focus, but unmistakable. He saw everything. Not the detective, not the cops. Him. You stare at the image for a long time, long enough for the shape of his face to become imprinted in your memory, long enough to feel his presence even when you close your eyes. You knew, but pretended you didn't. She breaks the silence first. There are more of them. You nod slowly, and they're organized. You take the letter, the voicemail, the image, and scan them. You encrypt them, upload them, tag them. Dead eye across every platform where your story has found traction. It takes less than 2 hours for replies to flood in. I've seen him too. He followed my brother before the trial. There's a pattern, always in the background, always watching. They call him the auditor. The auditor, a name wrapped in silence, A myth given shape through whispered memory. You print the image of him, tape it dead center on the wall, circle it in red. Beneath it, you write 3 words. The silence begins here. But you know that's not true, because somewhere out there, he's watching, still listening, still waiting. You turn to her. We need to find him. Her answer is immediate. No, she says. We need to make him find us. The trap begins with a whisper. You don't broadcast this one. No live stream. No hashtags. Just a carefully planted post in a corner of the internet you know he watches. No names. No threats. Just this room 213 wasn't the end. It was the invitation. You include a photo. Not the real room 213, but a carefully staged replica. Same bedspread, same cracked mirror, same angle of light falling across the floor. You rent the space under a different name. 2 cities over. Untraceable. You wait. 2 nights pass in silence. Then, at 3:14 a.m., your motion sensor pings. You watch through the monitor, breath caught in your throat. A man enters, gloved, hooded, deliberate. He doesn't search. He doesn't panic. He knows where to look. Straight to the mirror. Behind it, taped to the wall, he finds what you left him: a single photograph of yourself, standing in front of his building, watching him. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. He freezes, just for a second. Then he turns directly to the camera. No mask, no fear. He smiles. The feed cuts out. You stare at the blank screen, your own reflection flickering faintly in it. Her voice breaks the silence behind you. He took the bait. No, you say slowly. He took control. The next day, things begin to unravel. Your apartment is searched while you're out. No sign of forced entry. No items stolen. Just subtle shifts. Papers out of order. Timestamps scrubbed. A photo flipped upside down, like someone rearranged your past. Your phone, despite being encrypted, starts echoing. You say something out loud, and a matching ad appears within minutes. Not just creepy, surgical. She gets an email from a burner account she doesn't recognize. One image attached. A childhood photo of her. On the back, a symbol. The same circle with a diagonal slash. This time in blood red. You knew, but pretended you didn't. It was never about the truth. It was about control. Now, you realize he never left silence. He lives in it, thrives in it. He doesn't need to erase you. He just needs to make sure no one believes you. So, you go darker, off-grid. You abandon the apartment, leave your phones behind, erase all traces. You find an old motel in the middle of nowhere, one of those places where people pay in cash and nobody asks names. You rent 2 rooms, one to sleep in, one to work in. The wall becomes your battlefield again. But this time, it's not just your truth you're mapping, it's his. Every documented sighting, every reference to the auditor, every unexplained disappearance where silence swallowed the victim clean. You start to see the shape of something larger. He's not working for the silence. He is the silence. She uncovers a thread you missed, an old court case dismissed due to insufficient credible testimony. The key witness recanted her statement. The next day, she vanished. The only footage of her final appearance, a man behind her, slight, balding, unremarkable. Him, another case, different city, same outcome. She disappears down a rabbit hole of news clippings, PDFs, sealed indictments, and suicide notes that read like scripts. You analyze facial recognition data, travel records, gas receipts. You begin to feel like you're losing control, until the pattern reveals itself. Every time someone breaks their silence, really breaks it, not just speaks, but reveals he appears, and shortly after, they vanish, or their story crumbles. She looks up from the wall, eyes wide. He's not just cleaning up loose ends, he's creating them. He doesn't just silence the truth, he replaces it. You sit down hard, the weight of it knocking the wind from your lungs. What if we're not his targets, you whisper? What if we're just another test? She doesn't answer. She doesn't need to. The answer is in her silence. But that silence, you're done with it. You open a new document. This one has no password, no encryption, no codes, just plain text, published to a dozen mirrors across the deep web. You watched us. We see you now. You are the silent. But the echo is coming. Then you list every confirmed sighting, every fake news story, every forced confession, every dead name, the ones you can prove, the ones you can't. You upload it all. Because sometimes the only way to beat silence is to drown it. She watches you hit send and says nothing until, moments later, the motel phone rings. You both freeze. It rings again. 3 times. 4. You reach for it slowly, your hand shaking. No ID, no breathing, just a whisper, barely audible. You were never meant to speak. The line goes dead. Your hands go cold. You turn to her, the words catching in your throat. What if we just signed our own disappearances? She stares at you a long time and finally says what neither of you wants to believe. Then we speak louder. You expect him to come for you that night. You sleep in shifts if you sleep at all. Her back against the wall, your chair angled toward the door. The motel feels like a coffin with a faulty lock. Every creak of the floorboards, every wind-thrown branch outside the window sounds like footsteps. But he doesn't come. Instead, the world comes to you. The document goes viral, and not in secret corners this time. It makes it to mainstream sites, leaks through influencers, whistleblowers, fringe journalists tired of swallowing conspiracies they can't prove. A subreddit emerges, or throatless, truth. The comments flood in threads filled with matching details, suppressed court cases, manipulated memories, therapists who disappeared mid-treatment. Suddenly, the symbol is everywhere. The red slash, the blank eyes, the circle in chalk, lipstick, ash. The auditor has a face now. Not a name, not a file, but a face half remembered, often blurred, but consistent enough to spark fear, like a ghost that everyone swears they've seen but can't describe. Someone uploads a video, grainy surveillance footage from an elevator in an empty courthouse. A man walks in, presses a button, and never comes out again. The doors open, and the elevator's empty. The comments spiral. He doesn't silence you. He makes you doubt you ever had a voice. They're not erasing people. They're erasing trust. My dad tried to go public with a case like this in 2001. He drowned in the bathtub a week later. He was allergic to water. You and she read each one, eyes wide, numb. The truth isn't just out, it's burning, uncontrolled, alive. But with that flame comes the inevitable pushback. The stories are labeled disinformation. Trolls flood your DMs, demanding retractions. News pundits scoff. Officials hold press conferences assuring the public there is no orchestrated network of enforced silence. They sound too rehearsed, too calm, like maybe they're just trying to keep from saying the wrong name. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Then the disappearances begin again. First, a blogger, then a podcaster, then a A woman who sent you a thumb drive with encrypted files labeled cases they closed too early. All gone. No noise. No trace. Just nothing. But this time, you anticipated it. She installed trackers, off-grid, analog. She looped GPS through 3 decoy phones. And the night after the podcaster vanishes, she gets a ping, an address, warehouse district, miles out, off the grid. You both stare at the blinking dot on the screen. This is bait, she says. You nod. That's the point. You arrive just after midnight. The air smells like rust and mildew. Floodlights buzz overhead, casting long, distorted shadows. You park 2 blocks away. Approach on foot. No phones, no wireless mics, just 2 analog tape recorders in your coat and a flare gun tucked into your waistband like a joke that might get serious. The warehouse is locked, but the lock's new, which means someone's inside. You step through the door carefully, flashlights cutting through darkness, and then you see it. The silence wall, photos, notes, recordings, faces of the missing, symbols, variations of the slash cut into metal, stitched into fabric, written in ash. There's a pattern. You recognize it immediately. It mirrors your own wall from the motel, but bigger, smarter, older. You scan the names. Your own is there. So is hers. So is the podcaster, the blogger, the woman with the thumb drive. But one name stops you cold. Yours, twice. 2 versions, 2 timestamps. One marked witness, one marked suspect. You step back, ice in your spine. What is this, you whisper? She doesn't answer. She's frozen. 2 eyes fixed on another section of the wall. A photo, black and white. 2 children. One is clearly her, the other, you, years ago. She steps forward slowly. I don't remember this. You don't either, but you know it's real. Suddenly, the air changes. The lights flicker. A door creaks open in the back of the warehouse. Footsteps echo. Deliberate, measured, and then he's there. Not in shadow, not obscured. The auditor. He's unremarkable. That's what's terrifying. Average height, neutral face, the kind of man you'd forget 2 seconds after passing. But his eyes empty, glassy, like silence itself. He looks at you both. No fear, no words, just presence. You speak first. We know everything. He tilts his head, barely, as if to say, do you? She raises her recorder, presses play. You were never meant to speak, his voice says from the motel call. You were never meant to survive. He doesn't flinch. Instead, he speaks, but not to you, to the room, to the wall. I told you this would happen, he says calmly. You give people a voice. They scream, and when they scream, no one listens. They become noise, and noise is easy to erase. He steps closer. You were never suspects, he says. You were never witnesses. He smiles faintly. You were always proof. Then the lights go out. Total darkness. You don't breathe. You don't move. You listen for his steps, for hers, for your own heartbeat. But all you hear is silence, not emptiness, not the absence of sound. Weaponized silence, thick, absolute, the kind that dulls thought and erases direction. It wraps around your mind like fog made of static, anchoring you nowhere, making everything feel unreal. You know, she's still close. Her hand brushed yours just before the lights died. You reach for it now, finding only air. Ding. She, the auditor's voice, drips softly from the black. Is she even still here? He's testing you. You don't know who you are without noise. Do you? He continues. You only found your voice when someone handed you the microphone. But a true voice survives the silence. You blink hard. The darkness doesn't change. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You remember what she told you. The silence isn't just soundlessness, it's psychological. It feeds on what you refuse to face. You close your eyes and you speak. I'm not proof, you say aloud. Voice low but steady. I'm memory. Something shifts. A faint current of air brushes your cheek. You hear something clatter, gently metal. Maybe a flashlight. Interesting, he says. You still think this is about you. Another step. Closer. Your fingers brush the flare gun in your waistband. Your mind is racing. Calculating light equals exposure. Exposure breaks silence. That's the theory. You wait one more beat. Then fire. The flare screams to life. A violent burst of red slicing through the black. The auditor reels back, caught in the blaze of color, his eyes reflecting it like a predator. For a brief, searing second, the entire warehouse ignites in clarity. The wall of silence. Your photo circled in red. Her standing behind the shelving unit, alive, unharmed, eyes wide, and him finally visible, unremarkable, and yet utterly wrong. You meet his eyes, and then he's gone. Not dramatically, not vanished, just not there. The light dims, smoke rises from the flare. The warehouse swells with its regular emptiness. She runs to your side, breathing hard. Did you see it? You nod, heart hammering. He was real. He was right there. She holds up the recorder. I got it. Everything he said. You grab her shoulder, steadying both of you. We need to leave. Now. You race through the warehouse, past symbols and timelines and photographs of people now confirmed missing. But something's changed. The silence hasn't won. This place feels abandoned, vacated. He was done here, which means he's already somewhere else. You burst into the night, lungs aching. The city feels too open now. Every alley a trap, every dark window a watching eye. Back in the car, she plugs the recorder into the dash. The voice plays back. You give people a voice. They scream. And when they scream, no one listens. And then silence. But not empty silence. You lean closer. Behind the hush, faint and rhythmic, is breathing. Not his, hers. She played decoy. You turn to her. You knew he'd target me. She nods once, silent. But why? Because you're the loud one now, she says. And silence always comes for what it fears. You drive through the night, headlights casting weak tunnels through the dark. Neither of you speaks for a long time, until she turns to you and says, very softly, I remember now. You glance sideways. What, the photo? From when we were kids. That wasn't the first time we met. You slow the car slightly. Go on. She breathes deeply. We were both in the same program. Witnesses, survivors, early test subjects, before the auditor had a name. Your grip tightens on the wheel. You mean we were conditioned, she says. Taught to forget, to mistrust memory. Taught that silence meant safety. And those who spoke disappeared. Your mouth goes dry. How do you know this now? Because he's losing control. And silence doesn't erase what's remembered together. You pull over. The road is empty. Trees on either side. Moonlight pale on the hood. I thought I was the only one. You whisper. You weren't. She replies. You never were. But that's the power of silence. It isolates until you forget your own history. You sit there for a while, the two of you, under the stars, trying to assemble the broken narrative that once belonged to your lives. And then The car radio turns on by itself. No signal, just static. Then a voice. You remember now. You both freeze. The voice isn't his. It's yours. A recording of you, saying something you don't remember saying. You were never meant to speak. Click. Silence. Your pulse goes ice cold. You look at her. Did you? No, she says, just as pale. That wasn't me. Then who recorded it? And how long has he been using your voice? It was never about the truth. It was about rewriting it. You look ahead. The road stretches on. But now you know the silence isn't something you escape. It's something you chase into the dark and break, piece by bloody piece. You drive in silence, but not the dangerous kind, the reflective kind. The kind that comes when you realize every word you've spoken might have been used against you. That your own voice, your only weapon, might have already been turned into your weakness. The radio stays off. The air feels brittle. She sits beside you, watching the road, like she expects it to curve into something impossible. You think he's been using recordings this whole time, she asks. You nod. Maybe even before we started noticing. Maybe since the beginning, or before the beginning. You glance sideways. How can anything come before a beginning? She looks at you evenly. If your first memory isn't yours, is it even the beginning? Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. The car eats miles. Cities fade behind you. You cross state lines and unmarked roads. Sleep becomes a luxury. You live on gas station coffee and the occasional sense of clarity that only trauma can provide. At a rest stop, you both sit on a metal bench under the buzzing light of a vending machine. You don't speak for a while. Then, she asks, do you think he's alone? No. You answer too quickly. I think he's the face of something. Not a cult, not a conspiracy. Something colder. Something that doesn't need belief, just doubt. Something built on the erosion of memory. Exactly. You open your laptop, connecting through 5 layers of VPNs and a stolen Wi-Fi signal. The document is still spreading, but the noise is getting louder. 2. People are disappearing digitally now. Accounts that posted tips yesterday are blank today. Reddit threads scrubbed clean. Photos with distorted faces. Entire domains offline. Someone's editing reality, or at least the record of it. You whisper it aloud. He's scrubbing the memory of himself. She doesn't answer, because now she's looking at something on her phone. A voicemail, time-stamped tomorrow. You both listen. Your voice comes through, distant, mechanical, slightly warped. I found him. Meet me at the tower. Don't bring her. She locks eyes with you. That's not you. You nod. Slowly. He's going to try and divide us, and he already has the tools to do it. It was never about the truth. It was about making you question it. You write it down. The truth has to be louder than the lie. Then you add, but the lie always sounds more familiar. That night, you arrive at a communications tower in the middle of nowhere, an old broadcasting facility long since abandoned. According to the corrupted file she found embedded inside a deleted comment. It was the last known signal origin point of 3 separate whistleblowers. It's the place your fake voice said to meet. So you meet it, head on. The tower looms above you, skeletal against the sky. The red warning light pulses rhythmically. The signal that never stops. The one no one listens to anymore, because it's always there. You break the lock. Inside, static hums through the air like white noise made tangible. The walls are covered with old analog equipment. Most of it rusted, but some of it very new. Too new. A console glows faintly in the corner. Cables lead into a dusty recording booth. She steps into the booth first. You follow and find the tape. A reel-to-reel machine, still running. On the spool, labeled neatly in handwritten ink, are the words, "You unedited." You look at her. "Play it." She nods. You press the button. The tape begins. At first, it's your voice. You recognize it. A conversation you never had. A version of yourself you don't remember being. "I'm sorry." Your voice says, "I thought if I kept quiet, it would stop." Then another voice, hers, "You should have told me." You both go pale. You never said this. Neither of you did. But it sounds perfectly real. And then a third voice cuts in. The auditor. You'll never know which parts are yours. Click. The tape stops. Outside, the tower's light flickers violently. Inside, the silence swells again, and you finally understand. He's not just erasing memory, he's rewriting identity. You were never meant to remember. You were meant to repeat. She breathes out, shaky and cold. "That's why he didn't kill us." You look at her. "He wants us to become the message." You stare down at the tape. There's only one way to fight that. You grab a mic, press record, and begin to speak. Not to him, not to the watchers, to the world. Your voice is tired, broken, real. You speak names, dates, fears, failures. You speak the truths you never told anyone. And she joins you. Together, you say the one thing that matters. This is who we are. Because the only way to defeat silence is to be louder than what it left behind. And you're just getting started. The broadcast goes live at 3:17 a.m., a dead hour, a forgotten time slot, the space between yesterday's lies and today's headlines, exactly where the auditor's influence thrived until now. The signal pushes out across abandoned radio bands, shortwave repeaters, even hijacked internet backdoors, analog, digital, buried, open. You leave no format untouched. You don't try to go viral. You try to become unerasable. You speak your story, not the cleaned up version, but the disjointed, bleeding, raw truth, the memories you questioned, the voices you doubted, the silences that were too perfect to be natural, the lies wrapped in "I'm fine," and that never happened. She speaks. Too, her voice firm despite the crack in it. She names the names, points to the dates, and then she does something you never expected. She plays the tape again, the one labeled "You unedited." She lets the lie bleed through, then pauses it and says one thing: "This is not my voice," and you follow. "This is not my memory." And then, both of you, "We are not who they say we are." The recording ends. The silence that follows is different. Not the auditor's silence, not the crushing, weaponized kind, but something alive, listening, because now the world is hearing. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Not anymore. The chat logs go wild. Threads erupt on forums you've never seen. People uploading their own broken memories, their own doctored tapes, warped emails, photos that should not exist. Everyone terrified, everyone speaking. The world doesn't scream, it remembers. You turn to her. "We just made ourselves the biggest targets in the country." She smiles faintly. "Then let's stop being targets." You pack the gear, load the files onto mirrored drives, print hard copies, store them in safety deposit boxes, P.O. boxes, mail them to random lawyers, journalists, underground archivists. Redundancy is your new religion. Then, at sunrise, you disappear. You ditch the car, change IDs, burn the old notebooks, keep only one thing each. She carries the original tape, cracked but unbroken. You carry the photo, the one of both of you as children, the one you never remembered taking. It still haunts you, the familiarity of it, the way you stood together even then, as if the world was already preparing you for this fight. You ask her again, weeks later, in a motel somewhere outside the system, "Do you think that was really us?" She nods without hesitation. "I think he's been watching us since we were children." You stare at the ceiling. "Why?" She answers slowly, the words so quiet they almost vanish. "Because we were the ones who heard something he couldn't erase. It was never about the truth. It was about the memory of it." The broadcast resurfaces weeks later, archived, repackaged, untraceable. People think it's a conspiracy hoax. Others say it's a brilliant performance art piece. A few recognize it for what it is, a survival protocol. And one morning, you wake up to a note slipped under the door. No name, just a sentence. You gave the silence a shape. That was your first mistake. And a symbol, the circle, with the red slash. You burned the note, not in fear, in defiance. Because now, you know, the silence was never just absence. It was a machine, a language, a force. And you're rewriting it, one message at a time. She leans against the window, staring out at the endless gray highway. You realize this never ends, right? You nod. It's not supposed to. We've become the signal now. You glance at the small radio transmitter humming faintly on the dashboard, the red light blinking in perfect time with your pulse. You smile and say the only thing that matters. Let them try to shut us up, because even silence has an echo. And now, you are it. It starts again with a voice, not yours, not hers. A new voice, neutral, clipped, unfamiliar, cutting through an encrypted file received at 4:06 a.m. No subject line, no metadata, no traceable origin. Just one message, embedded inside a white noise pattern so subtle it almost passed unnoticed. You're not the only frequency anymore. She reads it 3 times, lips pressed tight. They're adapting. You nod, dread prickling at the back of your neck. They've learned our trick. The irony isn't lost on either of you. You made yourself loud to fight silence, and now they've learned how to echo back. Your signal has competition. You started the fire, and now the shadows are learning to flicker. You lean over the map, spread across the motel desk. Cities circled in red phoenix. Charleston, Oslo, Manchester, places where sudden memory collapses have been reported. Hospitals calling them neurological anomalies. Entire court testimonies withdrawn. Not for falsity, but for forgetting. Which one first, she asks, already packing the gear. Whichever one's next. You tap a city not yet circled Lansing. She doesn't question the choice, because you've learned something in the months since the first broadcast. It doesn't matter where the silence spreads. It only matters that you stay ahead of it. You drive in shifts again. A new car. Burn phones. USB drives in thermos caps. You rotate aliases like a roulette wheel, each one lasting just long enough to outpace whoever might still be listening. But you know he's still listening. The auditor may have vanished after the tower, but his presence lingers. You feel it every time the static glitches, every time a hard drive crashes without reason, every time a streetlight dies as you pass under it. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Now, you always assume you're being watched by someone, by something. You arrive in Lansing under cloud cover, gray skies, colder than forecast. You find a dive bar with a forgotten payphone on the side of the building. She plugs a listening device into the receiver. 5 minutes later, it picks up a call, no voice on the other end. Just that same layered static. like multiple silences overlapping. She plays it backward. This time, the message is clear. You made the world doubt silence. We made the world doubt you. And then, you're not saving anyone. You're just loud enough to make them targets. You pull the cord. The silence returns. This one doesn't feel weaponized. It feels disappointed. They've shifted strategy. It's not about fear. Now it's about turning you into the villain. And it's working. Comments on your uploads are changing. Maybe this is the psyop. Are we sure they aren't part of it? You notice how everyone they talk to disappears. She reads them in silence, then deletes the comments, then stops deleting them. We knew this would happen, she says. You shine a light long enough, you blind people, or they burn you for starting the fire. But neither of you backs down. Instead, you evolve. You encrypt your memories. No, literally, you create voice-to-data conversions of your life. Snapshots, soundscapes. You bury them in audio files designed to trigger only if your name disappears from public record. You hand off fragments to strangers, journalists, hackers, teachers, kids on Discord who believe in ghost signals. And one night, you broadcast a new message. Your voice, her voice, braided together. It's not a warning. It's an invitation. If you remember something you shouldn't, speak. If your voice shakes, let it. If they make you doubt yourself, say it louder. This is not a revolution. It's a recovery, because the silence is still watching. But now, it's outnumbered. You send it, then you wait, and within 24 hours, it begins. People respond. A girl in Poland publishes her mother's journal riddled with redacted entries and a recurring sketch of the auditor's face. A postal worker in New Jersey finds a sealed crate marked "Do Not Process" filled with photographs no one ever posed for. A man in Tokyo live streams a dream he's had for 10 years exactly like yours. You didn't start a movement. You restored memory. You and she watch it unfold from a safe house in an unnamed town. You don't celebrate. You archive. You organize. You verify every claim you can. Some are hoaxes. Some are cries for help. Some are horrifyingly real. Then, one morning, a package arrives. No return address. Inside a small black cube, like a speaker. No markings, and a note. Say something true into it. You both stare at it for hours. Finally, she leans forward, presses her lips to the edge, and whispers, "I survived." Nothing happens. You do the same. I remember. The cube clicks once, then whirs, then plays both of your voices back, layered, altered, encrypted, your truths twisted, and then it says, in the auditor's voice, "So do I." You freeze. She backs away. The cube powers down, and suddenly you understand. This was never just about resisting silence. It was about surviving its memory. Because now, the silence doesn't just want to erase you, it wants to become you. You grab the cube, place it in a lead-lined box, lock it, bury it, not to forget, but to remember where it is. And as night falls, and the static creeps again across the sky, you press record one last time and say, "We're still here. We're still loud. We are not finished." And somewhere, deep inside the silence, something listens and shifts, because now the silence knows your name. Rain begins to fall just before dawn. Not a storm, just a steady, rhythmic tapping against the motel's tin roof, like memory tryingly to be remembered. You lie awake, staring at the ceiling, the static of the world outside muffled by gray light and exhaustion. She's already up, sitting by the window, watching the empty road like it might blink. There's no tape playing, no voices whispering, no symbols burned into walls, just silence. But this time, it doesn't feel threatening. This silence is something else. A space to breathe, a pause, a moment between the sentences of your life. You sit beside her. Neither of you speaks. There's nothing left to prove tonight. Nothing left to uncover before the sun rises. All the tapes have been copied, the files mirrored, the message sent, the fire caught. The silence hasn't been defeated, but it's been named. And sometimes that's enough. The world won't change overnight. You know that. There will still be voices erased, memories bent, evidence overwritten. There will be days when even you doubt what's real. But there will also be echoes, people whispering the truth, fighting the quiet, listening harder. Because of you, she turns to you, finally, and says, the only thing that matters, we didn't stop him. No, you reply softly, but we interrupted him. The rain slows. The motel glows faintly in the pale light of morning. You don't know what city you'll drive to next, what face he'll wear, what voice he'll use. Maybe he'll show up as a friend, a stranger, maybe even a part of yourself you haven't questioned yet. But whatever comes, you won't be quiet. Not anymore, because now the world has heard you. Now the silence is on the run. Now you are the echo. End of script. Sleep well and watch your back.